Welcome to the How to Take Control of Your College Success workshop series. So far in our journey to learn how to take control of our college success and live more productive, intentional, and balanced lives, we have covered setting SMART goals, a friendly reminder to incorporate wellness techniques into your life, such as exercise, meditation, drinking water, eating healthy, sleeping, and surrounding yourself with your support system. We talked about what skills successful people use to be successful, how to incorporate the use of a to-do list every day, and using a schedule to plan your day. Please join me, Jennifer Such, as we first cover the Pomodoro method to help you stay on task, and then how to identify and utilize your learning style to help you make your study sessions as productive as possible. First, let's continue our conversation about good time management techniques by walking through how to use the Pomodoro method. The Pomodoro method is a time management technique developed by Francesco Cirillo in the late 1980s. When Cirillo was a university student, he found that if he used a timer to break work into intervals, typically 25 minutes in length, separated by short breaks, he was able to accomplish more in each study session. Cirillo went on to publish his findings, describing each interval as a pomodoro, from the Italian word for tomato, after the tomato-shaped kitchen timer Cirillo used as a university student. Before I explain how to incorporate the Pomodoro method into your time management techniques, you need to know that one Pomodoro equals 25 minutes. The original technique has 6 steps. Step 1. Use your daily to-do list to decide on the task to be done. Next, determine how long it will take to complete the whole task. Divide that total time into 25-minute sessions, establishing what should be completed in each 25-minute block of time. Step 2, set the timer for 25 minutes. Step 3, work on the task. Step 4, end the work when the timer rings and take a short break, typically 5 to 10 minutes. Then, go back to step 2 and repeat until you complete 4 Pomodoros. After 4 Pomodoros are done, take a long break, typically 20 to 30 minutes instead of a short break. Long breaks are incorporated into this technique to aid in the understanding and retention of the information you are learning. Did you know our minds are like computers, and after focusing on the same thing for quite a while, our screensavers come on in our brains? What that means is that our learning times out and our brain is unable to focus. The breaks that you take within the Pomodoro method keep this from happening. Another positive of regular breaks is that it reduces the amount of interruptions that can occur during the 25-minute work periods. For example, if you receive a text, you can answer it when the 25-minute session ends rather than interrupting the study session. Did you know that when you stop studying and look at your phone, it takes your brain 15 minutes to re-engage with studying after you put your phone down? That's 15 minutes that you are using trying to absorb material that is not retaining. Now let's get into the Pomodoro method's rules. If a Pomodoro is interrupted, the 25-minute study work session, 2 options can be done. First, you can reset the timer for the remaining time within that Pomodoro, or second, you can reset the timer for the whole 25-minute session. After you finish your task within the 25-minute Pomodoro, any remaining time within that 25-minute session should be devoted to reviewing your work that you've just completed, summarizing what you've learned or accomplished, or reviewing the list of upcoming tasks for the next planned Pomodoro 25-minute time block. Now take a minute, pause the video, and think about whether you might incorporate the Pomodoro method into your daily time management processes. Unpause the video when you are ready to move on. Okay, now let's move on and talk about learning. Logistically, if we understand how we learn best and when we use those techniques that align with our preferred learning style, then we will be able to learn better, right? Right. Well, that is just what Neil Fleming decided in 1987 when he came up with the VARK inventory. As the VARK website states, although we have known for centuries about the different modes of learning, the VARK inventory was the first to systematically present a series of questions with help sheets for students, teachers, employees, customers, suppliers, and others to use in their own way. The VARK model acknowledges that students have different approaches to how they process information. He referred to those approaches as preferred learning modes. These preferential ways are ways in which the student absorbs, processes, comprehends, and retains information. For example, when learning how to build a birdhouse, some students understand the process by following verbal instructions, while others have to physically manipulate the birdhouse themselves. And then others might be able to use an instruction guide with pictures of the birdhouse. Now, understand that the VARK is not about what the teacher teaches in the class you are taking, but rather it is about the learner study strategies. It is what the learner does, not what the teacher does, which is the VARK objective. Also, please note just because you know your learning preference, this does not by itself change your study behaviors. You, as the learner, must make your changes and incorporate the techniques that are applicable to your own style. This requires effort, recognition, and metacognition. If you, as the learner, do not commit to these changes, you cannot expect any academic change. You might be asking yourself, so how do I know what my learning preferences are? If you log into the VARK website, you can read more about the learning preferences, and you can also complete the free VARK questionnaire. Take a minute, pause the video, and complete the VARK questionnaire to determine what your learning style is. Unpause the video when you are ready to continue. Now let's go through each of the 4 learning preferences: visual, kinesthetic or hands-on, oral or auditory, and read-write. Let's talk more about what they mean and some tips for studying success for each. We've taken much of the information presented today from the VARK website you see referenced below on the next few slides. Please take a moment later to review the website's content. For the visual learner, visual individuals prefer to learn utilizing plans, drawings, charts and graphics, maps, and diagrams. They organize and emphasize information using white pages, fonts, highlighting, interesting layouts, underlying, word pictures, color, shapes, and symbols. Now, the interesting thing is that this slide has too many words on it for a visual preference, but hopefully you'll get my message here. Feel free to pause it and write it down. Draw pictures, color, highlight the whole 9 yards, whatever you need in order to help you retain it. As a visual learner, you are holistic and want the whole picture first. You are most likely going to draw something when explaining it. Some tips for success: you'll want to replace keywords with symbols or diagrams. Reconstruct notes using images, colors, fonts, and different spatial layouts. Review your notes and look for patterns. Reduce 3 pages of your notes to 1 by rewriting it. Redraw your notes from memory. Restore your visuals back into words. Include images, colors, fonts, and different layouts in your presentations. Use freehand drawings to communicate ideas. Use charts and diagrams to analyze and understand data. Remember, though, not everyone has a visual preference like you. Please note, visual strategies do not include videos and photos showing real life. These are more helpful to those with a kinesthetic or oral preference. Moving on to the hands-on or kinesthetic learning style. Individuals with this style know that their ideas need to be practical and relevant to you. You need to do things to understand them. People with a kinesthetic preference like action. They like solving problems practically. They like recalling previous experiences and how they did something then. They like real life examples, measuring outcomes, and they like teamwork. If you are a hands on or kinesthetic learner, you should use all of your senses to learn: sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. And you should always try to take a hands on approach. Practicing is extremely beneficial for this type of learning. Real life examples and personal stories, displays, collections, photos, and videos of real things, autobiographies, documentaries, surveys, field trips, and interviews are all helpful in the learning and retaining information for the hands on kinesthetic learner. To present information, the hands on kinesthetic learner should focus on the real things that have happened. They should recall exactly what happened and use plenty of examples when they present. Using previous experience as the basis for decision making and staying in the here and now are excellent techniques for the hands on kinesthetic learner. Some tips for success for the hands on kinesthetic learner are to expand your notes with details that you might have missed, to talk about your notes with another kinesthetic learner, to reduce 3 pages of your notes down to 1 by rewriting them, by using case studies, photos, and applications to help with principles and abstract concepts, to attend laboratories and field trips and review what you learned, to recall previous success learning experiences, practice solutions to problems from previous exam papers, use real-life examples to explain and simplify principles, recall all the details of a project, attend on-site visits, walk-arounds, displays, and expos, participate in on-the-job training, practice what you've learned, and use role plays to get the ideas across. Use videos and photos of real-life action. Feedback is based on face-to-face discussion with specific examples of successes or failures. Individuals with the oral or auditory preference learn best by hearing and discussing what they've learned. Auditory learners should listen to people with authority or knowledge. They should listen to podcasts, videos, and audiobooks, to interesting spoken examples, anecdotes, and jokes, to verbal instructions, to verbal feedback, and especially to their own self-talk. Auditory learners should learn by putting forward their point of view. They should use their voice in different ways for emphasis. They should explain their understanding to others. They should record their voice, and they should read aloud. And finally, auditory learners should use discussing to retain new information by talking things over and brainstorming ideas, questioning, arguing, and debating, commenting on the ideas or opinion of others, joining and contributing to discussions in person or online, and using their phone to have conversations. Some tips for success for the auditory learner: attend classes, discussions, and tutorials. Leave spaces in your notes for later recall and filling with details you might have missed. Explain your notes and new ideas to another person. Reduce 3 pages of your notes down to 1. Read aloud your summarized notes, record them, and listen to them. Ask questions and discuss topics with your teachers and other students. Obtain feedback about your understanding by listening to comments from others. Use rhymes and mnemonics to help remember concepts. Practice previous exam papers and speak your answers aloud. Imagine talking with the examiner. Participate in discussions, focus groups, workshops, meetings, and other information sharing opportunities to learn. Join colleagues for coffee breaks and informal conversations to discuss topics you've learned. Join online chats and listen to podcasts about your areas of expertise. Speak from your written notes and allow for colleagues' questions and feedback. Use your voice in different ways to emphasize your points. Argue a point of view and refine your ideas by listening to the views of others. Call a friend and reteach what you've learned. Listen to recordings of your notes while you walk across campus or drive. Individuals with the read-write learning preference like printed words, reading and writing, taking notes and making lists. They like structure, order, and clarity. They like words with interesting sources and definitions. They use the right words correctly. Read-write learners will want to read about whatever they're studying and write down their ideas around it. As a read-write learner, to take in information, you should use lists, titles, and headings, dictionaries, and online tools to find the best words, books, articles, manuals, handouts, reading lists, and dictionaries. Review written notes from what others have said or written. To present information, use writing to think through and clarify ideas. Rewrite principles and ideas in your own words. List items in categories ordered by importance. Always use spell check. Provide written information for others to read. Use a wide range of print media. Some tips for success for the read-write learner. Read textbooks, manuals, and assigned readings. Use lists, glossaries, and dictionaries. Translate ideas and principles into your own words. Organize diagrams, charts, and graphs into words. Write essays in structured paragraphs with introductions and conclusions. Organize your notes into points according to hierarchies. Reduce 3 pages of your notes to 1 by removing out the unnecessary details. Rewrite notes repeatedly. Reread notes silently, repeatedly. Write exam answers for practice. In meetings, make lists of actions and desired outcomes. As you listen, summarize what is said into your own notes and lists. Order points by category and importance. Analyze detailed results in tables. Regularly read new material in online forums. And give and receive feedback in written forms. Well, you made it. You completed all 3 videos. We covered so much. By now, you should know how to set a SMART goal, how to make sure you're incorporating balance into your life, how to live your life using the same concepts as successful individuals, how to incorporate a to-do list into your daily life, how to manage your time intentionally, how to incorporate the Pomodoro method into your study habits, and finally, how to learn and start using your preferred style of learning. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn with us, and we wish you all the success in your future.